Hey there! So today, we're going to talk about some of the most powerful little words in the English language, modal verbs. I know, the name sounds kind of technical, but trust me, these are like secret grammar superpowers that add all sorts of cool meanings to what you say. Let's jump right in.
You've probably asked us a million times, or maybe you've been corrected on it, right? Can I go versus may I go? They seem almost identical, but that one little word swap, it actually changes everything. Getting the hang of these small differences is how you really start to master the language.
So, what are these things, really? Well, here's the most important thing to get. Modals are not the main character in a sentence. Nope, they're like the best supporting actor. They're helper verbs that team up with a main verb to add a specific flavor, like saying something is possible or you have permission to do it. Okay, let's look at a couple of examples here. Bazu can help us, or you must finish this assignment. See the words can and must, they can't just stand there by themselves. They need a partner, like help or finish, to make any sense. Their whole job is just to add that extra layer of meaning.
Now, here's the best part. You ready for this? All of these super-powered little words follow three very simple, totally unbreakable rules. Once you get these down, you've pretty much cracked the code on modals.
All right, here we go. Rule number 1, they always have to have a main verb with them. Always. Rule 2, that main verb has to be in its simplest, most basic form. No ing, no ed, none of that. And rule 3, and this is a big one, modals never, ever get an S at the end for people like he, she, or it.
And check this out. This slide shows that third rule perfectly. You'd say Sanjeev should pay, but you would never, ever say Sanjeev shoulds. It just sounds wrong, right? The modal itself never changes. Doesn't matter who we're talking about. Seriously, it's that easy. And here's rule number 2 in action. See how after the modal can, the verb is just paint? It's in its pure, simple form. You wouldn't say she can to paint or she can painting. It's always just the modal and then the plain, simple verb. That's the formula.
Okay, so we got the rules down, which is awesome. Now let's actually look at our first group of these modals. These are the words we grab when we want to talk about what's possible, what we're able to do, and of course, when we're asking for permission.
So this bunch, we're talking can, could, may, and might. They're all about navigating a world that's not totally black and white. They give us the language we need to talk about skills, different options, and making polite requests.
All right, let's start with can. You probably use this one all the time to talk about what someone is able to do, right? It's about capability. So in this sentence, can tells us that Ritesh has a real skill for communication. It's just a straight-up fact about his ability.
But what about the future? You know, when we're not 100% sure what's going to happen. That's where might, may, and could come in handy. Saying we could have rain doesn't guarantee it's going to pour, it just opens up the possibility. It's the perfect tool for talking about a future that's, well, a little fuzzy.
And hey, look at that. We're right back where we started. So what's the deal with can I versus may I? It's really all about how formal you want to be. Can is your casual, everyday choice you'd use with friends. May is more buttoned up, more polite, perfect for when you're talking to a teacher or your boss. Both work for permission. It's the situation that decides which one you pick.
All right, time for our next crew of modals. This set, will, shall, should, and must, is all about conviction. If the last group was about maybe, this group is all about definitely. We use them when we're making promises, giving advice, or talking about things that absolutely have to get done.
Yeah, exactly. The last bunch was all about what's possible, right? This group, this is about certainty, about what needs to happen. These are the powerhouse words that convey a sense of decision, of duty, and responsibility.
Okay, so shall versus will. This one can trip people up. The old school rule was to use shall with I and we, but honestly, these days, will has kind of taken over. You'll hear will for just about everything. Predicting the future, making promises, I will drop you home is a solid promise.
Now, if you're giving someone advice, should is your best friend. It's the perfect word for that. When you say you should admit your mistake, you're not ordering them around, but you're giving them some pretty strong guidance about what the right thing to do is.
But what if you need to be stronger than just advice? That's where must comes in. It's a total level up. Must isn't a friendly suggestion. It means this is non-negotiable. You must pay the fee means there's a serious consequence if you don't. That's the heavy-hitting power of must.
Okay,
you're doing awesome. You've got the rules and the main groups down cold. So now, let's get into some of the really cool advanced stuff where modals show off their true magic.
Modals are mission critical for these things called conditional sentences. They're what we use when we talk about what-if scenarios, especially ones in the past that didn't happen. That little phrase, might have, it perfectly captures this idea of a lost opportunity, a path not taken. You just can't build these kinds of sentences without modals.
And last but not least, let's talk about the shapeshifters of the grammar world, semimodals. These guys are so interesting because sometimes they act just like the modals we've been talking about, following all the rules, but other times they act like totally normal verbs.
And this is a fantastic example. Let's look at the two faces of the verb need. Over on the left, it's playing the role of a modal in she need not come. See? No S, no to. But then look to the right. Here it's a regular old main verb, he needs to be. It's got the S and it uses to. Seeing them side by side makes it so clear.
Okay, so let's wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways here? First, modals are helper verbs, and they play by 3 simple rules. Second, their entire job is to add a specific meaning, possibility, obligation, and so on. And third, picking the right one is all about what you're trying to say and who you're saying it to. Think about it. When we started, you might have been a little fuzzy on all this stuff. But now, after breaking it all down into simple rules and groups, I bet you're feeling way more confident, right? You've got the tools to really use these words with precision.
So at the end of the day, remember this. Grammar isn't just a bunch of boring rules. It's about having more tools in your toolbox to say exactly what you mean. So my last question to you is a simple one. What will you do with this new superpower? How can you use modals to make your own communication even better? Thanks for joining me.